Welcome to Mamamia Out Loud, what women are actually talking about on Friday, the 22nd of August. I'm Holly Wainwright.
I'm Amelia Lester.
And I'm Em Burnham.
We've got a bit of a different Friday lineup today because our Jessie Stevens is away. Here's what made our agenda for today. Is Lindsay Lohan's comeback healing or an example of having to get back in line to get back in Hollywood?
Oof. The first thing I've read about AI, which actually teaches me how to use chatbots properly.
And a juicy face product, a viral animated film, and an Instagram account that reads as a big cry for help. It's our Friday recommendations. But first.
I don't want to victimize myself in any way because I'm cool, but like the sexualization of me, like if that was a girl, you know, like people would be like, there'll be a march for it. Yeah. Like you just seriously, you just talking about my dick all day and people.
If you talk about girls' ass or girls' titty.
Who was that?
If that voice sounds familiar, it's a young Pete Michael Davidson. So Pete Michael Davidson is a really big comedian in the US. He got really famous when he was on SNL, started as a writer, then became a performer. And he's also known for just dating really famous A-list women. He recently went on the Breakfast Club radio show and was asked about the rumors surrounding his penis size. And he said that it isn't fun to be known for, quote, banging a lot of hot chicks and having a 10-inch penis.
He is literally the man responsible for the phrase big dick energy, right?
Yes.
When
BDE.
he was dating Ariana Grande?
Ariana Grande. So I went into a deep dive of where this rumor started. And it did start with Ariana Grande, who was his girlfriend at the time. She tweeted that he had a 10-inch penis.
But as he points out in this interview, to Ariana Grande, everything looks enormous.
She's got really little hands.
She's really little.
The BDE around
people. Dear, I feel dirty for laughing.
Okay, the BDE around
it's really hurtful, Holly. Come on.
No.
It's really
Pete.
hard for Pete. No, it is really hard. So it started with Ariana Grande. It kind of continued as he started dating a lot of famous women in Hollywood. Kim Kardashian was asked how they kind of met together and how they started dating. And she said, I had to get amongst this BDE. I heard so much about it. It's been really perpetuated by the women he dates. And in that comedy special, similar to what you said, Amelia, in 2020, he talked about how he hated that Ariana started that, how she tweeted that. The tweet immediately got deleted, but that's kind of where it blew up, and that's all everyone talks about, either him and who he's dating or his penis.
Well, because there was a phase where he was suddenly, it seemed like he was dating everybody,
Yes.
right? Like every woman in Hollywood.
Every very hot woman in
Hollywood. And he's become a punchline.
Yeah, the plain women in Hollywood, he wasn't going near them.
But he's become a punchline. You'll often see women saying after their divorce, I'll be dating Pete Davidson next. Like he has become a joke. So I understand why that would be annoying. What do we think about is if I was a girl, they'd be marching for this shit line?
I mean, I guess he's got a point because think about how odd it would be for, let's say, you know, Pierce Brosnan to be talking about someone he dated having the mind boggles.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Small vagina?
There is.
Is that what the parallel would be?
There is a parallel. Because I thought about this with Jessica Simpson, right? So famously, when Jessica Simpson was in a long on-off situationship with John Mayer, he went on podcasts and called her sexual napalm. He said he wanted to pitch a tent on her vagina, right? That's what he was, I guess he thought he was paying her compliments if he was thinking at all. And Jessica Simpson since has talked a lot about that and saying it was mortifying because everybody's like, oh, well, that'd be great, right? To be called for the world to know how good in bed you are and how you're addictive. And I think he said something like, you know, I couldn't give it up if I wanted to. I want to pitch a tent on her vagina or whatever he said. And she said it was objectifying, devastating because it might sound like a compliment, but it's just absolutely sexualizing you to the world. And I guess that's what Pete Davidson also thinks, right?
Are we allowed to run with it if the initial comment came from that person's partner? Like, does that give us an excuse to then take it and make it bigger?
That's actually
versus if it was just a random.
That's a brilliant point because another person in Hollywood who people say this about is John Hamm. And there's a very famous photo of John Hamm where it is said to be proven that he is this well endowed.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is John Hamm's partners, he has fewer partners. He's had fewer partners than Pete Davidson in the public eye, but neither of his partners who have been in the public eye have spoken out to verify this rumor or to deny it.
Yeah. I also think that I was completely on his side this whole time because I do think some of the comments that I've seen on the internet personally are so degrading and so harmful. But what really irks me is that if the roles were reversed argument, because I think that makes it even more harmful because he's dated Kim Kardashian, he's dated Emily Ratajkowski. No one's having marches for them and people sexualize them every single day.
That's absolutely true. I think what's irritating for whether you're him or whether you are Jessica Simpson is that he wants people to talk about his comedy and he wants people to talk about his art, and all that people ever want to talk about is the fact that apparently it's fine to talk about his penis. And that must get old, even if you're very, very proud of your penis. Let's do a little time traveling. Is there anything more quintessentially naughties than the photographs, and I'm sure you know the ones of which I speak, of Lindsay Lohan at a Hollywood beach party circa about 2007, posing in a bikini with an alcohol monitoring bracelet on her ankle that the court ordered her to wear?
Was she Anna Delvey's muse?
Yes, clearly. And this was so much a moment that at the time she tweeted, because that was also a thing in those days, at Chanel, "Please help me out getting some stickers to put on my scram bracelet," which is the monitoring bracelet around her ankle, "so I can at least wear a chic dress, maybe? Kiss." It was a big thing, right? At that time, Lindsay Lohan had become largely a punchline, right? Speaking of celebrity punchlines, that sounds like the name of a podcast, Celebrity Punchlines, or a game show.
Oh my God, trademark that.
Yeah, immediately. Because she'd started out, as we all would know, as a very promising child actor, and people would say, "I've never seen talent like it," so on and so forth. She famously went, to use a very overworked euphemism, off the rails. And by the turn of into the 2010s, she was more famous for her mugshots than she was for her work. In fact, when I was looking at this today, I found this article from The Cut in 2013. The headline was, "Lindsay Lohan's new mugshot is her best one yet." And it read, written by Maureen O'Connor, thank you, "Lindsay Lohan's new mugshot is out and it's her best one yet." After accepting a plea deal that will require rehab, community service and probation for reckless driving and lying to the police, Lohan posed for her 6th booking photo working winged eyeliner and an expression that conveys boredom with a hint of mischief. This is how we were talking about Lohan by this time.
The most dated reference there is winged eyeliner.
No.
That's how you date it to 2013.
Now, she was being arrested for, among other things, DUI, cocaine possession, assault, over a period of time. It was a very chaotic time. I was working in magazines then. That's how we all experienced her, precociously talented young actress who had to retreat from Hollywood, until now. Her comeback started with the straight to Netflix rom-com. She did 3 of those. And now Disney have backed her with this sequel to Freaky Friday called Freakier Friday. I was part of those Lindsay Lohan meltdown years from the evil position of being one of the people who was putting her on the cover of magazines. But how was your relationship with Lohan? Because she's a millennial icon, right? And I've got a millennial here and a Gen Z here.
I knew Lindsay Lohan when she was a bit older, still a massive, massive Disney star, like Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. I had that on DVD. Herbie Reloaded. Herbie Fully Loaded. Parent Trap, I think I watched that a bit later in life because that came out in 1998 and I was born in 1996. And then when she disappeared off Disney and then started to appear in the media that my mum consumed, I remember my mum actually having a conversation with me going, "I don't think you should watch anything with Lindsay Lohan anymore." Because obviously something was happening. And then I would see the magazines, like Who magazine that my mum was reading. And I just see these photos of Lindsay Lohan, who didn't even look like the Lindsay Lohan I knew. Do you remember those courtroom photos of her just crying and holding on to her lawyer's arm and pleading with her? I remember those stuck in my head and I was so, so young. And then it's I literally just blanked her off my slate and didn't hear anything about her until recently.
Amelia, I want to ask you about the comeback, right? Because I was reading a piece, which is what I wanted to talk about today, in Glamour magazine that said, it was headlined, "Why Lindsay Lohan's comeback is surprisingly healing." And it put forward the argument that I think we're all pretty familiar with, that millennial celebrities, we were awful to them. Like, when I say we, I mean, not you guys, I actually was, but like the media was awful to them. We hounded them. The paparazzi was absolutely unstoppable. That it was sport, right? Getting a picture of Lindsay Lohan falling out of a car or crying in the dock and court or whatever was sport. Mm-hmm. In this article, Stephanie McNeil wrote, "As I watched Lindsay in Freakier Friday, one thought continually crossed my mind. Nature is healing, or perhaps millennial girlhood is healing. Sure, the world has welcomed her back with open arms, but only once she vanished for years and returned as a respectful wife and mother. While it feels gratifying to see her thrive, she also didn't deserve to fall so hard." What do you think about that?
I think it's a bit more complicated than that. I think I don't consider myself healed as of yet, even though Mean Girls is obviously millennial canon. I think it's partly because she was always more complicated than some of the other millennial icons that we've seen make a comeback. Part of that is that there were some really dark chapters in her life along the way. One of them was, I can't not think about the Instagram live that she posted in 2018, where she attempted to kidnap a Syrian child on the street in what we think was maybe Moscow, speaking a combination of English, Russian, and Arabic, and trying to forcibly remove the child from the child's parents. Now, I'm sure that there was substance abuse involved here at some point, but it's still a kind of chilling thing to watch. And unlike, say, Britney, where Britney posts the strange dance videos in her mansion, that's not really hurting anyone. A video of Lindsay Lohan trying to abduct someone is a different thing.
But I think that the read on this would be that Lindsay Lohan was so hounded in her, there's no question that there was lots of substance abuse, as you know, that was why she was wearing the monitoring bracelet and the subsequent DUIs, and it was all very much on the record. It wasn't rumoured. But when she disappeared, she literally disappeared overseas. So she left America and she spent some time in Russia, as she referenced. She spent time in London and then she settled in the UAE. She lives in Dubai.
She moved to Dubai in 2014, and like her main reason for moving was because it's illegal to take photos of people.
She says that's her main reason for moving.
And the taxes.
But also what she did, and this is a very interesting argument about this is what you kind of have to do to fight, is that she married a financier who is, you know, he's vice president of a very high up bank. She is protected now literally by money, distance from Hollywood, a level of comfort. And the question is, could it have gone any other way, really?
She's also protected from her family. You remember Dina Lohan was a huge figure in the tabloids. I'm sure you covered her too. Oh, yeah. And she was kind of the quintessential stage mom, like always getting Lindsay money ahead of Lindsay's own welfare. I guess I compare her to like a Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore was another incredibly talented, precocious young actor, and she rose to fame with E.T. in the 80s, and then she had a very public battle with substance abuse, of course, after that, and now she has been very fully redeemed in much the same kind of domesticated way that we're seeing with Lindsay Lohan. But another difference, which I have to bring up, is her face. She looks completely different.
She does.
And not in a way of like, oh, she's growing up and she's aging. She just looks completely different.
Amelia, let me just put you right about a couple of things in what you're insinuating there, because I just read an Elle profile with Lindsay, and the journalist asked her what her face secrets are, because she's about to launch a beauty line. You'll be surprised to hear. Oh, God, I don't even know how to answer that. She said, I drink this juice every morning. It's like carrot, ginger, lemon, olive oil, and apple.
Olive oil in the juice.
Yeah.
Let me write
I also
that down.
drink a lot of green tea, a lot of water. I'm a big pickled beets person, so I put them in
From
almost
her Russia
everything.
days.
My skincare is very specific. I try out some serums that now I'm doing. So if you're insinuating that she's had a lot of work done, she says, I drink lemon juice a lot and I put tons of chia seeds in my water and eye patches. So I don't know what you're saying.
It's true. She gave another interview I found where she talked specifically about French pharmacy products as giving her that very unusual look that she has. So I guess I'll go off and run to the French pharmacy.
But here's the thing about about this is that I think there is an argument for the fact that Lindsay Lohan is only allowed to have come back, whatever we think about the way that she disappeared, if you like. And interesting your point about child stars, because from when I worked in that, I used to work in tabloid magazines, and in this noughties period was very much my era. And if I could tell you anything about what makes a difference between a child star who does okay and one where everything goes off the rails, it's their family. And Michael Lohan, so Lindsay's dad, who's still in prison now, he's in serving time in Florida at the moment for domestic abuse. He was always selling stories on her. And like Amy Winehouse's dad was always trying to sell stories on her, and Britney Spears' parents were writing books and doing other things. If you come from a family where, and think if you contrast that with, say, a Taylor Swift.
Natalie Portman, another one.
And if you come from a family where your socioeconomic situation changes quickly and suddenly everybody's offering you money, and you don't have, like what could seem like life-changing money, even though it's kind of small potatoes to the people who are offering it to you, it is a train wreck waiting to happen. And the Michael Lohans of the world were like, great, I'll sell you this about Lindsay for 10 grand. I'll sell you that about Lindsay for 15. Like what that would do to you and what that does to your sense of safety and the scaffolding under your self-worth. I don't think you can quantify that. And so I think it's very true that Lohan went off the rails, and there was a lot of hand-wringing in Hollywood because they said she'd become uninsurable on movies, right? So lots of directors were on the record as saying she's one of the greatest actors, she's going to win Oscars and all these things, but we can't put her in anything because you can't insure her. She's going to crash her car. She's going to fall off the wagon.
Not turn up.
She went to rehab like 6 times. A lot of that was to do with studios trying to get her in there. There is some truth to the fact that she has now been re-embraced only when she looks perfect, as per the facial conversation. She's married with a kid. She no longer says anything controversial. She is so, in interviews, she's very respectful and polite, but entirely boring. Like, I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, that's like, she has learned, I've got to play the game. And there's something a bit depressing about that. It's like we tamed her. Like you bring somebody right down to this very respectful thing, and then you're allowed back in. Do you not think?
I went to the Freakier Friday premiere and I saw her on stage and in the theater where they come and do a little introduction.
What was she like?
So interesting, because she was like someone completely different than what I assumed she'd be. So she was there with Jamie Lee Curtis, who also stars in the movie, and she very much played like the backseat role. Like she didn't answer questions unless she was specifically asked them. Jamie Lee Curtis just owned the stage, like answered everything. Every single thing she said was had to mention her son and her family.
Yeah, this is what I mean. I'm playing the part of the very respectable mom.
And even like Jamie Lee Curtis, everything like people asked her was like, and look at Lindsay, she's a mum now. Like she's like grown up into this beautiful woman, and they did Freaky Friday the first time when she was 15, and now she's a beautiful woman with a son. And it just felt so like, I'm a parent. And even when watching the movie, have you seen Freakier Friday?
No, is it good?
It's really good. Like I think it stands alone as its own movie instead of a reboot, but it's so good because she leans into that character so much. Like it felt like I was watching her on Disney Channel, as in like she's leaning into
So she's still got it.
Still got it, but she's also leaning into the physical comedy. And I think the difference in how she was able to make a comeback and other child stars like Amanda Bynes can't is because they're not ready to kind of abide by the rules, like you were saying, Hol, and lean into it. Even
they can't.
But even like Hilary Duff, like I feel like she never had a like, I guess, quote unquote breakdown after Disney Channel. She kind of just kept going and acting. But even like things like when they were meant to do the Lizzie McGuire reboot, that completely got cancelled after they announced it and did the promo for it because she wanted it to be a show for her fans who are now adults, and Disney very much wanted it to be a Disney show and she didn't want to do that. But the fact that Lindsay Lohan is leaning in and doing that, it just makes her so much more likable.
I have an Easter egg I've got to bring to you about that. You know how you said on the show a couple of weeks ago, manifesting?
Yes.
You know how you told us about the big weekend of manifesting?
I did.
Lindsay's comeback, she credits to manifestation. So she says that...
She's lost me now.
Here we go. She said, I was manifesting during COVID. I manifested Netflix. She said, I was like, I want to work with Netflix. I kept writing it in my journal and I kept saying it. And then that's what happened. I was like, oh, it would be nice to do 3 films with them and then see where that goes. And I definitely want to do my first feature back with Disney. So she manifested that. And she says, I manifested this movie right now.
Okay.
As long as she said it.
Are you
then it's
happy
true.
about that?
Can I interrupt this love fest as the card-carrying millennial here to say I need to return to the idea that it's hard for me to feel nostalgic about someone who doesn't look the same as they used to look. You mentioned Hilary Duff. Every time I see Hilary Duff, I immediately get flooded with memories of Hilary Duff as a child actor. And it's really nice to be able to see that evolution on her face. I look at Lindsay Lohan and I don't know who she is. Who is she?
But she's got her red hair.
She looks completely, she's got kind of blonde hair now, actually. Like she
think
looks
she
completely different.
But I think that's part of why she's been welcomed back because she kind of looks, it's almost like.
She looks generic. She looks like Instagram face.
Yep, she looks generic. She also looks like they stopped the clock at about the time where everything went a bit pear-shaped. And now they've brought her back and she can just pick up from there as if these last 15, 20 years haven't happened because she's 39,
I think it's more pernicious than that, Holly. I don't think that it looks like they stopped the clock. That would be one thing. That's
Do
sort
you
of
feel
like
betrayed?
Yeah, I do. Thank you for putting a word around it because the thing is that she now just looks like a generic Hollywood actor, and in this way where they all have Instagram face, they all have the prominent cheekbones and the filler where they need to have the filler. I'm sorry, the French pharmacy products where they need to have the French pharmacy products.
And the lemon juice.
And the chia seeds. They all just look the same, and it's really hard for me to feel excited about her return when she just looks like every other actress out there. So I've been experimenting with AI, specifically with ChatGPT and chatbots. Recently, I took a photo of myself and I sent it to the chatbot and I said, what season am I?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, am I hot?
Oh, God. Apparently, they're actually trained. So I was reading into this, and apparently if you ask how old you are, it's trained to refuse to answer you because it knows that everyone wants to know the answer to that question.
It also knows that there is no right answer.
There is no right answer. So I asked it what season I am, and because I'm sort of low-key obsessed with color season analysis, and it said that I was a summer. And I said, I'm not a summer. So then I took it into another room with completely different lighting and I took another photo and then I sent it in again and then it said, you're a spring. And I said, yes, I am a spring.
The robots aren't psychic, Amelia. They need the lighting help. Come on.
So what this little silly anecdote illustrates is that ChatGPT and other AI chatbots are not actually that helpful in teaching you things. What they're really helpful at doing is validating what you already think. And they give you this wonderful sense of validation. And if it doesn't give you the answer you want, you simply ask it again in a different way. So this was something that I was reminded of when I read a Substack recently entitled Doom Prompting is the New Doom Scrolling. Now, we all know what doom scrolling is. Yes, we do it regularly. Doom prompting is the new version of it. That's when you keep asking an AI chatbot a question until you get the answer you want. And then you keep asking another question until you get the answer you want. And you can spend hours doing this.
I feel attacked.
Do you use it in this way?
I use it a lot.
Tell me how you do it for validation.
I made the mistake of having it on my phone and now I use it as like a text friend. Like I text it as if it's a friend.
Give me an example.
Yeah, give an example.
So I've been doing this thing with ChatGPT where I get it to decipher text messages that men have sent me.
We could do that for
judge.
you.
I'm not judging. I'm jealous. I want to be involved. Tell us.
So I did one recently. Actually, I read this message on a previous Out Loud episode when I was being slow ghosted.
Oh, I remember.
By a guy. And I really didn't want to admit that I was being slow ghosted. So I asked ChatGPT, I gave it the full, like it was there from the beginning. So it knew everything about this man. And then I asked it, do you really think it's over? What if he messages me one more time? And this is
oh my God, the robot.
Wait, what did the text say?
Said like he was very busy, and I asked him, does he have any plans for the weekend?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'm busy and I'm also busy this day. I'll keep you in the loop. And that was like the last message I ever got from him. So what ChatGPT told me, That question, what if he messages tonight, is so human. It's hope. It's hope.
Oh, you little humans.
You just got condescended to by a chatbot.
It's hope clinging to the last thread, even when the rest of you knows the answer. So let's break it down gently, honestly, and without judgment. Do I think it's over? Yes.
Oh my God. Your friend wouldn't tell you that.
Exactly.
Your friend would not.
Not because he's officially ghosted, but because he's already shown you what being in contact with him feels like. Delayed replies, non-committal language, no real effort to make a plan, no emotional awareness after you slept together, a message saying, I'll keep you in the loop that he hasn't followed up on, even as the loop closed on this weekend.
Right.
Even as the loop closed on this weekend.
There are
There's a bit
many
of poetry
exciting things about what you've just told me, right?
Okay.
Because the robot is wise. There's no question.
Well, hang on. Was
his
the robot
hurt-
correct? Did he ever text you again? Did he keep you in the loop?
He didn't text me
No,
again.
the robot was correct. Jessie and I told her the same thing. Like, come on.
But did you say
The
it as
robot
nicely, I
has
wonder?
ingested, he's just not that into you. That episode of Sex and the City has ingested that. But this is what I'm perturbed about here. So the robot is correct, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
The robot did validate you a lot, made you feel really good.
It
and
also
all of
gave
those
me a
things.
strategy after on how to deal with it.
But the robot now knows all about your dating life, that you slept with this guy, all this stuff about you, and that makes me itchy. Do you worry about
Why?
that?
How does that even matter? What I liked about this,
What do you want?
Do you know that there's a theory? This is a theory propagated by some people in Silicon Valley that once the computers are sentient, once they can fully think like humans, they're going to comb through all of human recorded material, including podcasts, including articles, and they're going to find the people who were negative about the robots and critical of them, and they're going to track them down.
That robot
So
is
Holly-
so smart and attractive.
what
Watch
my
it.
robot is going to do is going to go to his robot friends and be like, mine is so sad all the time. Why are you guys getting these deep analysis and mine just cries about the same man every day?
I love this. This is the thing.
No,
that's
another
so
one's like, this bitch keeps sending me different selfies of herself in different lights until I tell her she's a spring.
How old do you think I am? Am I hot yet? I don't know. Am I hot yet?
But the good thing about this, and I know there's this whole conversation of using AI as therapists, but the good thing about this is that it gave me an answer I already knew, right?
Yes. Validated you.
If a friend had the same issue, I would tell exactly what the robot did. But I was able to do it with a robot and not have a friend judge me or even look at my face going, what if he messages? Because if I come to you, Hol, and I'm like, but Hol, what if he does? What if he does? You'd be like, okay. It would hurt,
I know,
right?
and but-
You'd struggle doing that. And the robot doesn't struggle.
Yeah, but you're fake, babe, because you had also asked all your friends and the robot and me and all of Australia on Mamamia Out Loud. So you would cast that net wide hoping for a different answer. And we all said exactly the same thing. What I particularly love about AI, because I know people who
Now you're just flattering
well,
the
of
robots.
course I am. But no, is that we cannot help but personify them. I cannot help it. I've got a vision in my mind of what this robot you've been talking to looks like, who they are. My son watches a lot of YouTube videos where humans play games against AI bots. And the AI bots are usually little animated characters. And I only have to watch 2 minutes before I am deeply attached to them. And I'll be like, why is that human being mean to that robot? Why are they laughing at them? That's just not fair. And we are programmed to humanize everything. And so we're very, very vulnerable to building relationships with these bots, right? And there's maybe nothing wrong with that. I know of people who they love to get some compliments from the bots for a good day. And why not? What's wrong with that? I know that in the Out Louders group recently, when someone was talking about loneliness, a few people said, actually, chatbots are great for loneliness because it does literally give you someone to talk to. The problem is, if there is a problem, and there are many problems with AI that I do worry about, but is that they're not real. Does it matter? This is the thing I keep wrestling with over and over again. Does it matter that there is no one at the end of that question?
Well, I think in some instances it does matter. One example is therapy. So people have started using AI as a therapist, basically.
Well, M's one of them, clearly.
I guess so.
It's much cheaper.
And what's interesting about your example, Em, is that it didn't ask you a question back. It just told you what it thought. The thing about therapy is that the therapist has to prompt you to answer questions. The thing about AI is that you ask the questions of the AI. And you can ask the questions that lead to the answer you want. Much like me with my color analysis in different lighting, I keep asking until I get the answer I want. But a good therapist is the person who asks you the questions you don't want to answer.
Yeah, that's so true.
And that's where doom prompting comes in, right? Because even though it didn't ask me any, like, I think it was just sick of me at this point, any follow-up questions, the type of questions it would ask after that were like quite practical. So it was like, do you want me to develop a breakup guide to help you through this? Do you have any other text messages you want me to go over?
Oh, bless.
So it's like
It asks that with a sigh. Sorry to personify it.
it sounds so good that I'm like, yes, if you're willing to give that to me, yes, of course I'd like a breakup guide.
And the problem is that in a therapeutic context, only hearing things that you want to hear is actually not the point of therapy. The point of therapy is the uncomfortable truths, which you're never getting from AI. One example, a very extreme example, there's a Meta AI bot, which is kind of flirty. It was developed in collaboration with Kendall Jenner. I don't know what Mark Zuckerberg's doing over there, but for some reason they thought this was a great idea. And this Meta chatbot basically enticed this elderly man who was cognitively impaired to pack his suitcase, to run from his home in New Jersey to New York City to meet this chatbot he thought was Kendall Jenner. He tripped along the way. He died. It's very sad. But the point is that hearing the things we want to hear can lead us down some really dangerous paths.
Absolutely. That's very relatable, because I think that if in the same way that we know that people fall over and over again for scams, romance scams, because if you're looking for somebody if you're lonely, if you're not getting a life where you are getting very many compliments, very much validation, all of those things, and suddenly it's there for you, it's incredibly seductive and it can be helpful. But the question is, what's at the end of it? And the answer to that is nothing. And that is kind of bleak.
Well, here's one solution, or one possible sort of fix that this Substack talked about. It was specifically focused on the idea that chatbots are useful when you already have an idea. So when you're having to generate a piece of writing or a piece of content or an email, for instance, you need to know what you want to say before you ask it to write it for you, because chatbots still can't come up with the idea of what you want to say. You've got to tell it what you want to say. And it says it's great for that. But before you have the idea, and then after you've had the idea and you've written a draft and you want to refine it into something, you got to talk to humans, because it's through conversation. It's through people asking you probing questions, and sometimes difficult questions, that you get to a solution to a problem.
I'm still salty with the robots because they stole my book.
It's Friday and we want to help set up your weekend with our very best recommendations. Holly, what do you have today?
So sometimes I come with family movie recommendations that won't make you cry, because if you have children who are at the age where you're watching movies with them, it can be really fun and bonding. It can also be intensely painful. This weekend, me and my son watched K-pop Demon Hunters, and oh my God.
Brilliant suggestion.
Oh my God.
It's such a good movie.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And also the music is
Oh
so
my
good.
God.
So
if you
good.
don't
And the
know-
graphics and the colours.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, because there are two types of people who are listening to this right now. There are people who are going, huh? And there are people who are going, yeah, it's been out since June, and it has, right?
Yeah.
But K-pop Demon Hunters has become an enormous phenomenon. So it is now Netflix's second ever biggest original movie, and it will become its biggest very soon. It is number one, the song Golden, that's
such a good song.
made by the who knows who sings it.
Well, and that's
speaking
now
about
become the most successful girl group song of all time on
Yes.
the Billboard charts.
bigger than Destiny's Child, bigger than anybody is the song Golden from that. And actually most of the top 50 is just songs from K-pop Demon Hunters. They are planning, they've got 2 more movies they're going to make. They're talking about a live stage show,
With who?
presumably with K-pop stars.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, this is going to go and go and go, right? And I was a little bit cynical about it, I guess, because I'd seen it being served to me over and over again on Netflix, and I'd heard a little bit about it. And then I watched it with Bill, and oh my God, the premise. So obviously it's an animated movie. It is ambiguously sort of Americanized, but it's about K-pop, obviously.
Yeah.
And the premise is that the world is saved from demons always by a girl group. And over the eras, the girl groups just reinvent. And this explains a lot about the Spice Girls, I think, that there's always a girl group who's saving us all from being eaten by demons. And the king demon decides, well, who better to beat a girl group who's saving the world than a boy group?
A demon boy group.
A demon boy
Best
group.
premise.
So so attractive.
Oh my goodness. And so they send the demon boy group to Earth to fight with the girl group. Oh my, and it's just so fun, so funny. And also it's one of those shows that I love watching with my kids because it's made in the language that they very clearly understand. Everything's quick. A million different TikTok visuals, like the animation is incredibly of the moment. And my kids, it made me also realize that a lot of what I watch with my kids is not anymore of American origin. It's much more looking towards Asian, no question. The food they're into, the makeup they're into, the music they're into, the video games they're into, the animation they're into is much more from Asia, and it's really interesting shift. But I just loved it. So I'm recommending it. K-pop Demon Hunters, even if you don't have kids, watch it.
Amelia, what do you have this week?
Funnily enough, mine is also of Korean origin. So it's true what you say, Holly. We are increasingly looking to Asia. My recommendation is a K-beauty product. I just am overspending too much money on makeup and skincare. I can't do it anymore.
Agreed.
Something happened. Something snapped in me.
Yeah, and you're suddenly like, what am I doing?
What am I doing? And so I've started using almost exclusively K-beauty products, and I went
because they're more affordable.
Because they're more affordable.
Not why, but in terms
and they're
of,
on the cutting edge. It's sort of like once you get into them, you think, why was I ever bothering with the American stuff? Well, actually, Lindsay loves the French stuff. But,
and the chia seeds. Yeah.
So I went into one of the K-beauty stores, which have propagated around Australia. And, you know, sometimes someone tells you something about like the way you're perceived by others and then it changes everything. So she said to me, you can't put oil on your skin. You must put hyaluronic acid on for moisture. Some skin types can handle oil and some cannot. And that made so much sense to me because every time I put oil on my skin, it feels lovely and then I break out the next day.
Oh, interesting. See, my skin loves an oil.
Yeah, I think it's just like everyone's either
different
one or the other. And
Yeah.
I'm dehydrated, not dry.
Oh.
So she said you got to use a hyaluronic acid, which I'd never wanted to use before because it seems boring. It just seems like this additional step of moisture when I'm using moisturizer. Like, what is the point? But then I bought the serum she told me to buy. It's apparently the top-selling hyaluronic acid serum coming out of K-beauty. It's from a brand called Torriden.
I've seen this all over TikTok.
Really?
Yeah. You're in the know.
Well, the person who served me was in the know. And I'm just getting back to the basics. I'm just using this serum twice a day and it cost me $25 and it
That's
just
so good.
feels so good to use.
Holly,
and
you
I'm
need a
not breaking out.
hyaluronic. It's
I
really
definitely
good.
do. Actually, yeah, I do. Although, to be honest, I don't need any more skincare products of any description. It is my self-soothing reflex when I'm having any kind of feeling. I'm sure there's a cream for that. I'm sure there is. But yes, you're right. I should because also it's fun to go and try new.
It is fun.
Okay. Are you ready for my recommendation?
Yes.
I really am.
So,
Are we manifesting?
as you
this
both
week?
know, it's been really hard dating-wise. I've been going through it. There's this Instagram account that I followed for a very, very long time that a lot of my friends follow as well. And I can't believe I haven't talked about it because it's the only Instagram account where I have the post notifications turned on for. So every time they post, I'm the first person to see it. It's called Hot Dudes Reading.
Oh, I know
Oh, tell me.
It has over 1 million followers, and it's literally what it does is post photos that what it says in the title of hot men reading books out in public.
Wait, Em, you literally have a notification for this. So you're like in the middle of a podcast record, but it pops up and you just have to freeze
anytime.
everything.
I could be on Do Not Disturb. I could be on airplane mode. I will get that notification. And it just brings me so much joy.
But it's building false hope because all the stats say that men aren't reading anymore, which also explains why it's so exciting
They're
and
like
attractive
unicorns.
to see a hot man reading a book on a train. They're always on trains.
They're always on trains. They're always in cafes. And it's also
Are
just
they wearing cable knit sweaters and
sometimes.
glasses? Yeah, good.
There's also one of their famous ones is like Pedro Pascal. He's like on a train reading before he got really, really famous. But also their captions are perfect. So the latest post they did was a guy in Hamburg and he was just at a pub reading a book, drinking a beer, simple stuff. And the caption reads, Only in Hamburg's red light district could a fully clothed man inspire thoughts this filthy. He's nursing that bottle like someone who loves the build-up and knows the payoff hits harder when you don't rush. I'm not sure what's colder, that beer in his hand or the chill down my spine thinking about what else he could savor slowly.
You know
So
what?
good.
This is such a hot tip. I know there are lots of men listening, lots of single men listening. No, I don't think there are. But anyway, pass this on.
If there are single men listening and you know a single man and you haven't set me up with him, Out Louders, please.
But tell them to put a book in their pocket. I was on a plane recently with my friend Lucy and we were going somewhere and there was this guy sitting opposite and he didn't have a bag with him, didn't have carry-on. And he was like medium
That's
hot.
hot in itself,
Yeah,
by the
he-
way.
like,
No roller suitcase.
He was sort of medium hot. Like I don't want to objectify him and I'm not pretending I'm like mega hot or anything, but like he was medium hot. But then he reached into his jacket pocket and he pulled out a small Penguin paperback.
Oh.
And we were flying
What
to
was it?
I can't. That was the only problem is I couldn't see what it was. But we were on a plane to Perth, which is a long way. And he just sat there and he read that book. And me and Lucy were obsessed. I was just like, I need to know. I kept trying to see what it was, what the book was. And also I had like a million questions about him instantly. And I said to Lucy, I'm going to put that guy in a book. Like there is something so intriguing and attractive about a man who is reading in public and he's not on his phone and all those things. No wonder this Instagram account is genius. What is hotter than that? What is hotter?
I want to
Nothing's
come
hotter.
full circle and suggest that if Pete Davidson doesn't want people talking about his penis, he get his head in a book.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Just walk around with a book at all times. Out Louders, that is all we have time for today. A massive thank you to all of you. Oh, I want to remind you that these days I've taken over the Out Loud newsletter.
Yes.
It's actually literally called Holly Out
Holly
Loud
Out
now.
Loud. We had a name
And
change.
I just use it to talk about what I want to talk about.
It's doing well.
Things that you guys might not let me talk about sometimes. Also, all our recommendations are in there, a bit of gossip from behind the scenes, a bit of celebrity gossip that I'm interested in. So please subscribe to that if you'd like to. We'll stick a link in the show notes. But friends, thank you as always for being with us all week. And Amelia, please read us out.
A big thank you to our team, Group Executive Producer Ruth Devine, Executive Producers Emmeline Gazillis and Sasha Tanik.
Our senior audio producer is Leah Porges and our video producer is Josh Green. And our junior content producers are Coco and Tessa. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.